Hello, good morning, and welcome to another episode of Making Love for Life, Love by Valentines. My name is Clesia Mendes, and today I've got with me the wonderful Dr. Anne Curtis and a special guest, hello, and a special guest directly from Bali, Emily Nature. Welcome, Dr. Anne, and
Ah,
welcome, Emily. I was like, it's kind
yeah, we could do our body dance.
yes. Ladies,
Welcome dance.
yes, it's great to have you here, and we were discussing ideas for today's show. So we already had the many good things coming up. And Dr. Ann Curtis, would you like to start where you were talking about?
Okay, so we're just going to talk about what comes, and we were just chatting a bit before we started about what had been coming to us this morning. And the first thing that came to me was about where people think their love is coming from, because I was just chatting to a friend of mine who is really, really enjoying his life. He loves how his life is, except the only thing he would like to change is that he loves people, and he loves people so much that he's always trying to please them. And so he's always really, really busy, and he feels like he's on a treadmill because he doesn't want to say no to anybody. He does want to say no, but he feels like he wants to please everybody and to keep all the relationships going and to have happy relationships. But it's exhausting him. So I said, so what you sounds to me like what you want to experience is peace of mind. And he said, yeah. So I said, if you could do all the things you're doing and experience peace of mind and calm, and would that be okay? And he said, yeah, that would be great. That would be great. So then we explored where he thought his peace of mind would be coming from. And it gave me the idea that the similar thing that people imagine, like he was imagining that his peace of mind was coming from outside of him. And it's the same with love, that people tend to think, most of us tend to think that the love is coming from outside of us, that it has to come from some other person. And particularly love has to come, we have to find our other half and the person who makes us whole and all of that stuff, rather than understanding that our love is actually who we are. Anyway, so we may talk about that.
Yes, and just on the back of that is very interesting, because one thing is the fact of love, right? That the way I see it is that as human beings, love is everywhere. Love is where we come from. Love is in essence who we really are. And if you adulting myself, just watch the amount of songs that every single year are released about love. So why would we write and sing so much about something if it wasn't that important?
Yeah.
Because it's in our DNA, makes part of who we are. But the experience of love is completely different. Sometimes we may feel loved, and sometimes we may not experience it. And sometimes we even put all these conditions that have to be fulfilled by someone, but we don't give them the list about the conditions. That would be too easy. And then say, okay, this is your challenge. If you really love me, you're gonna do all these things. And the guy or the girl, depending on the relationship with us, like, where is the list? It was like, that would be too easy. That is too easy to know, and you need to find out. And it's just the area of relationships, it can be so wild, and I would word the crazy. Really, there is so much thinking about it. And so what do you think about that, Emily?
That's so funny. I love what you're saying. Like, if we were to give them the list right up front, that would be a tad too easy.
But if they had the list up front, then they would know what to do, and we wouldn't know for sure that they were really loving us, because they were only doing what they knew they had to do, rather than what they really felt that they should do. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
That would be too easy for them, isn't it? So it's like, yeah, let's make it extra hard so they can prove they really love it.
Yeah.
And what occurs to me is that the list may change as well. It's actually not fixed. We may add items to it. We may remove certain things. We make amendments and adjustments without prior notice.
Oh yeah.
Never. We are women. That's a product of changing our mind. We can change our mind whenever we feel like. We are women. It's fine.
Yeah. And if it was fun, that would be okay. You know, if we really took it in the attitude that we're talking about now, it'd be okay. But the problem is that we bite off our nose to spite our face. So we set it all up in that way, and think the other person is making us unhappy because they're not ticking off everything on the list, when in fact it's just us making us unhappy in the first place by A, setting up that list, and B, thinking that we can only be happy if they do those things.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't work. We can be happy anytime. Like we are being happy when we're thinking about it and laughing about it. Yeah.
Absolutely. One thing that I forgot to mention, and I think is quite important to mention now, is that Emily Nature, you are a love and relationship expert. Am I that correct, or would you like to tell us more about what do you do? What is your area of expertise?
Well, I would love to say that love, intimacy, and relationship is my playground.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if I would use the word expert, but I love to play and frolic and have fun in that playground. And is that hot or cold?
What is my facial expressions tell you about?
So what I love doing is helping women, especially smart and successful women, to have fun, to enjoy, to play in that area, so that, you know, it doesn't have to be like another thing that they have to do, another thing that is on their to-do list, but it can just be fun and enjoyable.
Yeah.
I'm also fun. How about you, Anne?
You can tell we don't enjoy doing that at all. No.
No. We are very serious people.
And we are very serious about being serious.
Yeah. Isn't it interesting that we can okay, so we are in relationship with each other now. This is and we're enjoying. And we've talked before about how people think they have to be in relationship with a particular person before they can be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And why wait? Why not just be happy all the time?
Yes.
Whoever you're with, or even when you're on your own.
Yeah, but that would be too easy. Then people would judge you. They would think she's easygoing. I used to say I'm easy but not cheap. I'm easygoing but not cheap.
Yeah. And I think yes. I think the problem with me was that I spent most of my life being cheap but not easy.
Oh.
Cheap and difficult.
Yeah.
Wow.
Something that occurred to me in terms of being difficult and all the sort of challenges that we may put up to our potential partner because they have to prove themselves that they are worthy of us. Maybe it has to do with a lot of the fairy tales, because if you think about it, in the fairy tales, there is for example, the Sleeping Beauty, and she's in a castle, and there is the handsome prince in a white horse, and he has to overcome all the challenges in order to save her, go to the castle and just get a kiss and finally wake her up for life. And usually they get married and then they live happily ever after, and no one tells about the rest of the story. If they decide to get kids, or if they get a divorce, or if she decides to go back to university, we never hear about that. And maybe is that sometimes in the back of our mind we kind of borrow, or we bought the idea that no, actually a relationship has to be really, really hard. And I'm not saying that if I go in the middle of the street and someone hisses at me and asks me for my phone number, that number one, I'm going to answer to that. Number two, am I even giving my phone number? And number three, when I'm saying I'm easy but not cheap, that doesn't mean I give my phone number to anyone just because they ask. you do have your preferences. But I'm thinking in terms of relationship, when we already made a choice of being in a romantic relationship to someone else, what is the value of creating the extra difficulty?
I guess it's I guess for me in the past, at least, it was around having proof, you know, that they really did love me. At least I thought that's what it was. That was the thinking that was going on. I had to, interesting.
You know, I read a quote by Thomas Merton today, and please don't quote me for this, like this is not verbatim, but basically he says, if we really love someone, it means accepting the person for who they really are and not trying to twist them into our preconceived idea about who they should be. And here's the kicker, like, yeah, of course, I get that part. And then he said, because if we do so, it means we're only in love with our own reflection. Our own reflection that we see in that person. So what I see is that when we have a list, or we have like these desired traits and qualities that we're looking for in another person, and we expect them to show up that way, it's like, I don't know, it's almost, it sounds like narcissist to me, like the guy who fell in love with his own image in the water. It's like we carve an image, we create, we build up an image, we like fabricate one based on our own reflection, and then say that like we're just gonna love that and nothing else.
That just reminded me, Emily, of what Sid Banks said about whatever we're looking for, and whatever we're looking for in another person, whatever we're looking for in life, we're actually really searching for ourselves. And I think it's just a misunderstanding when we think the other person has to be different, or this is what's going to make us happy, or he needs to be like this, or she needs to be like that. It's just a misunderstanding. We think we're looking for something in the other person, and we think we're looking for something in the relationship, and we're really just looking for ourselves. And what people don't realize, what we just don't realize, is that we don't have to go anywhere. There's nowhere to go. We're already here. There's nothing to search for. It's like that thing about the sun behind the cloud. It's always there. So our real self is always there. It's our natural state of being. It's our innate state of being. And the only reason we're not experiencing that and seeing it and just being who we really are is because there's something blocking our view, blocking our experience, and it's just our thinking. Because we're thinking. I have to do this. I have to be that way. He has to be this way. All of that thinking is like grit in the wound. Like when if you cut yourself, like we know, if you cut yourself, that wound is just going to heal naturally. You don't need to do anything to make it heal, unless it has grit in it. Okay, if you've got grit in that wound, it's not going to heal up properly. And so all our extra thinking, all our thinking is just like that grit in the wound. If we just know that our thinking comes and goes and don't get involved in it, and recognize that this is just thinking, it's just thinking going through, and we're not in control of it, we just can watch it, and that's like the grit just falls out of the wound, and the wound just heals. So go on.
No, I was about to say actually it's something that I said before. The way I see it, we don't need to be in a relationship. but we maybe choose to be in a relationship, and for several reasons, and all of the reasons are valid. Or I don't know, maybe we like to have someone an extra body in the bed. I'm being naughty here. Uh, I don't know, someone to take the garbage out. Yeah, someone to travel with us because they have a good conversation. We can go together and play badminton now and then. We don't need to be together all the time. But the companionship, and there are or even you may want to get together with someone just because you want to have a family, and don't want to see the just that in the sense that is a minor mission is a very important mission. The building a family, you would like to have a family, and you're looking for someone that is family oriented because you want to create that, and there is nothing wrong with it. I think it's just that sometimes we kind of innately we know what we want, but then we listen to the messages in the outside and they tell us that we should want something different. And I'm wondering if that is what may create your all extra thinking that actually gets in the way of finding the person that would be perfect for you, or recognizing them, because chances are they already are nearby you. You already attracted them, they're already in your space, but you got so much thinking that you're blind to them, right? Because there are all these things going on. For example, a lot of things that we see in the magazines, that you are supposed to feel attracted to really young, I don't know, young looking just came out, young looking, attractive, six-pack kind of guys. And I don't feel attracted to that at all. I like the nerdy types. Well, if they are sexy, I like the ones who are sexy but don't know it. You got the ones who are not sexy, but they think they are sexy, so they are off my list. But the nerdy types who are really sexy and don't know it, I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna stop. But you get the idea, and that is what I like. And I went for coffee one of these days with a guy who was actually a professional trainer, and not only he ran a fairly successful business, and he was very proud of his muscles and a six-pack, and he made sure he wore like a white shirt so you can see like all the and I was like, what a turn off. And I noticed the other women, they were like almost drooling over him, and I was like, I was like, find me a nerd. Yeah, I like what I like, so.
You know, I don't know about like all the ideas from the magazines and media, because I don't think I'm that influenced by that, but I used to have very fixed idea about what I like and what I don't. And for me, that is just another type of sticky habitual thinking. Right. So like, yeah, I used to have a list of the traits and qualities that I looked for in a man. And you know, actually, what surprised me is that I changed. My preferences changed. What I thought I wanted changed without me even knowing it. And then one day I look back and say, oh my goodness, I'm not attracted to that kind of man anymore. Now I'm attracted to this kind of man. And what used to be a like a no for me, now it's okay. I don't really care about it. And so I see that when we see that what we want is actually, it's a kind of thinking, and it's fluid, it's flexible, it's not fixed at all. And we are able to dip our toes into various waters and try different things out and have more fun, instead of like having a very tunnel view about this is what I want and I'm only gonna do this. There is so much more possibilities and fun.
Yeah. I'm curious, can I ask you a question, Emily?
Yeah.
What have you seen differently that all of a sudden you became aware that your preferences had changed? What happened for you?
I wish I could like put a finger on it and pinpoint it for you, but I guess my feeling is that my heart is more open. I feel like I have more space and more openness and more availability to receive more from other people. So before, my heart is, I don't know, this is a metaphor. I'm like, it's tiny. Like you have to be a certain type in order to get to me. But now I'm having more space and like not that many filters anymore. So I guess that's the reason. And people are so lovely. Like, to be honest, I see attractive people everywhere, which is a real surprise to me, because no, I didn't find a lot of people attractive at all in the past.
That
Yeah.
that's very interesting. So it kind of, what I heard is that at the moment it's almost like you've got the attractive people glasses on. So yeah, so you can put the attractive people glasses on. So you see more attractive people.
Yeah, it's just like they're so lovely and so nice, and like my heart is so open, you know? Maybe that's the reason.
I guess to me it sounds more like the other way around, that the that filter is gone. Rather than putting the glasses on that sees attractive people, it's the you don't need the filter anymore. When you know you are love, when you know you're not looking for, you haven't got to find someone, and they haven't got to be a certain way, and you're just exploring and having fun, because you've got everything you need already, because you have everything you need already, and I guess you start to experience that we really are all one to some extent. I mean, as human beings, we have an experience of being separate from other people physically. But when you start to understand, when you really start to experience, not just understand, because it's not an understanding so much as an experiencing, that we really are all part of the quantum soup, we're really all part of the same thing, then, and I think recognizing that everyone is beautiful is recognizing that you are, when you can recognize yourself, you recognize yourself in other people. Like you said, we're seeing a reflection of ourselves. So if you're seeing people as beautiful, that's lovely. That's lovely, because because they are.
Yeah, totally.
And more fun, isn't it, to just experiment and be with people. It's about trust too, because there's nothing not to trust, is there?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Trusting whom? Trusting yourself and your own wisdom?
Well, yeah.
Or you mean something else?
What I mean is, if you're trusting, if you're understanding that we are all part of universal mind, if you want to call it that, or whatever it is, the whole energy, if we're all part of that same thing, and so other people are just parts of us, really. And you're trusting in wisdom, you're trusting in that greater part, that greater you. There's nothing not to trust, because if everyone else is, there isn't anything else, there's nothing not to trust, is there?
Oh, each time you ask the question, there is nothing not to trust, is there? I was like, I can think about all the people in prison. I was like, well, based on results, where I'm coming from. Something that occurred to me. I've got 3 sisters, right? And my second sister, she's 5 years younger. And when she was about 15, she started dating a fella that was 7 years older than her. And we knew his family, we knew his mom and his siblings and so on. But my mom was very, very upset about it. And she wanted to get involved, and she didn't want my sister to date the guy and so on, because he was so much older and he could have his head on a gutter, hormones and so on. And my mom came to speak with me. I was a little bit of an advisor in the house. And it was like, oh, this is not right. And one of the things that occurred to me back then is that my parents My dad was 12 years my mom's senior, and my grandma didn't want my parents to get married.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think they did? They got married based on results, right? So, and they had beautiful children. So, but even back then, I had the insight. I was like, okay, obviously, it seems like every single time the parents put some sort of resistance, actually they put in the couple together instead of. So you just let it get on with it. Whatever happened has to happen. So when my mom came to talk with me, oh, it's not right there. She's seeing such an older guy and so on. And I was thinking, well, it's up to you. You're the mom. But in my opinion, she's the one who knows, to choose her guy. I wasn't dating at the age of 15. I was a late bloomer. I was more into my books and business and travel. But she was like, yeah, she's the one who knows about for her. And after that, and the entire family got involved. I didn't. I was like, I stepped back and say, she'll trust her wisdom. And funny thing is, until now, they are still together. My sister refuses to get married because she doesn't want to give away her freedom, at least in her head. They've got a wonderful kid. Kevin is now, I think, 13, 14 years old now. And they've been
Wow.
together for a long, long time, right? But it was like, yeah, whatever right is right. And they still together. So it's very, very interesting.
There's that subject of freedom coming up again.
Yes. And the trusting,
And
trusting that she knew what was right for her. Yeah, so I'm glad I didn't get involved. I didn't
Well,
say
actually, that is interesting because my sister did something similar when she was, I think she was 14. So she was going out with a guy who was, I think he was 18 at the time. So it wasn't so much of a difference, but it was too much for my parents too.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, they got engaged. That was, they got engaged. And my parents, they didn't like it, but they didn't interfere too much. My mother was very good at, okay, just we have 10 minutes left on this apparently.
Okay.
Tells me. So my parents said that my mother was very good at doing what you said and not interfering because she knew that more resistance. So my father was ready to interfere, but she made him not. And so they went out for a while, and then the guy that she was with, he was a guitar player, and he wanted to put together a pop group.
Right.
Yeah, that's what it was at the time. So he put together this group, and he needed a singer. And so they found a singer, and she fell in love with the singer and married him.
So her wisdom told her kind of to be in that she would find the one on that sort of area.
Yeah, and they're still together. And she was so she was 18, 19 when she met her husband, and they're still together now and happy. A lot of years later.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. Some people they know. When I met my first long-term partner, I didn't realize he was romantically interested to start with, or otherwise I would have run in the other direction. So it was it was quite crafty in a way that we got to know each other as friends, and I was teaching him stuff and so on. But once he asked me if I wanted to be his girlfriend, and he didn't get any kisses for an entire week because I was still thinking about it, even though I had said yes. After we became a couple, things evolved fairly quickly. Right. I had a 2-bedroom apartment. I was living by myself, and I think it was less than 2 months he moved in, and I had no thinking about it whatsoever. I said, I've got my room, you've got your room. I'm not your mom, so I won't be tidying up after you. You take care of yourself. And that was quite straightforward for me, and I had no thinking about it whatsoever. I knew once you know it, that's it.
So yeah.
How would we like to wrap up this session? Would you like to give us an exercise? Sometimes you give us that nice experiences.
Well, we could just we could just experience being here. I mean, I think it's been really good fun talking, and just like you said, Emily, about having the fun. It's like, it's just it'd be interesting to look at how could I wonder how I could have more fun with people and just allow myself to experience things. Yeah.
You know, what occurs to me is that when we have no outcome in mind and no expectation about what should or should happen,
Mhm.
then we can have a lot of fun. But I speak from my own experience, because when I talk to someone, when I hang out with someone, just being with the person and enjoying their company, and the conversation can go here or there, we can talk or not, we can laugh or not, it can go into whatever direction, it doesn't matter. We have fun. But as soon as I have an agenda in my mind about, okay, we should talk about this and we should get to that destination, then suddenly I stop having fun.
Yeah. Yes, let's give up on thinking.
I've got a quick question for Emily. Emily, so you, with the ladies that you work with, you said they are usually high successful ladies. They are looking to find a partner, or they're looking.
Yeah, most
What
of the time.
what would you tell to one of those ladies? Imagine that you got your ideal client in front of you.
Mm.
Was like, Emily, I would love to find my guy, the perfect guy for me, by Valentine's. What sort of golden nugget would you give her?
Okay, this doesn't sound like it's fun, but I'm trying to think of something that is quote unquote fun.
Mm-hmm.
But my experience is that the quickest and fastest way to find the partner, the guy, or the relationship is to discover the love that you are. And it sounds trivial, it sounds simple, but it's not, because we've spent a whole lifetime putting that outside of us and chasing it on the outside, that even when I tell somebody love is inside you, you are love,
Mm-hmm.
they still come back and ask me, how do I find that?
Mm-hmm.
But I said the ultimate leverage to a person finding the happiness, the love, the joy, the relationship, the soulmate, the whatever they're looking for, is realizing who they really are. And once they realize that, all problems are solved. No problem at all. And everything that they've ever looked for, it's instantly right here, right now.
Oh, that's beautiful, Emily. And Dr. Ann Curtis, where can people find us?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Let Emily tell us where they can find her first, because then.
Sure. You can find me on my website at emilynature.com. That's EMILYNATURE.com.
Okay, very good.
You.
And you can find myself and Clesia at facebook.com/makeloveforlife. That's it.
Easy.
Or you can send us an email. You can send us an email to makeloveforlife@gmail.com.
Yes, that's beautiful. And one of the things that I would like to add, thank you very much for the people that got in contact. I was down in London for training, business training, and I had at least 2 people that approached me and say, I absolutely love your shows, please keep doing them, because I keep watching them over and over and over again. And I was like, wow, how does it get any better than that? So that is, we can see that the views keep increasing, but it's almost getting a real person behind a number. I was very touched by that, so thank you. I've got a little heart there, very touched by that, so thank you very much. And if you would like any sort of themed discussed in our program, just send us a message. You can go to facebook.com/make love for life, all spelled out, or you can send an email to makelovefforlife@gmail.com. Is that correct?
Yes, that's it.
Fantastic. So,
Yeah.
Emily, thank you very much for joining us today. It was marvelous. And what else can we create together in the future?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Emily.
Thank you. This is so much fun.
Yeah, come back again.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.